It was good, YouTube. All right. We got the Dark Side of Disney Channel deep dive. Let's see what they got going on. See, I've never heard like many negative stuff about Disney for real that I could remember. Well, actually, no. Well, because people like Orlando Brown, he ex now, but I haven't heard. It's more so Nickelodeon that I've heard negative stuff about, or like more people like come out and talk about their experiences. So let's see what Disney Channel got going on.
To stop the show. We knew it was time.
You chose to stop it?
Yes, my brother and I actually quit off of Disney Channel.
As someone whose professional career initially spiked at 11 years
What was
old,
it?
and whose face is now
I'm trying
the
to
cover of
find a-
clickbait articles titled 10 Shocking Ways These Child Stars Died.
It's Allison Stoner.
I'm Brenda Song.
Oh, from Camp Rock.
I'm
like,
Ashley
she looked
Tisdale.
familiar.
I'm Debbie Ryan. Hi, I'm
Let me
Dylan Sprouse.
make this a little smaller.
I'm Cole Sprouse.
We quit one because
Let me lower this a little bit.
I'm Disney royalty.
Yo, this thing is too loud, bro.
Back
there we
then,
go.
we could have done it for 50 cents. Everybody liked the idea, but the truth is nobody took it seriously. Their reaction was essentially, Jim, go do your 8mm home movies.
We did the channel because we did a lot of research that showed that there are literally tens of millions of people across this country who really wanted a kind of wholesome or family programming that wasn't being offered. Benton and Bull's advertising agency did a study fairly recently that indicated that something like 33% of the people who don't subscribe to pay television, with or without children, don't do it because they don't want R-rated pictures into their houses. Now, I'm not suggesting that there's not a tremendous market for that kind of material. I'm just saying that we discovered that there was a gap in the marketplace.
But it would be Jim Jamiro who had the last laugh, as the 80s brought great investments into the Walt Disney Company. The same year they built the billion-dollar theme park Epcot, the Walt Disney Company gave Jim Jamiro the green light on beginning what we know today as the most iconic children's network of all time, the Disney Channel.
And you're watching Disney
That,
Channel.
as they say, is just the beginning. In the months ahead, you'll see more great movies for the whole family, more new shows that are fun to watch, easy on the eyes, and packed with the things that you want to know.
Yo,
The
I
people
heard
at the
they
Disney
like
Channel want you to
they like canceling Disney Channel this year or something like that. Like they shutting it down.
know that
That's crazy, man. All them years. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Disney Channel fell off a couple years ago though, because they like had something where they were just showing like the same. I think like 3 shows on like 24/7.
promise. A commitment to bringing you and your family the kind of quality
that was, like,
television
the
you'll be
last,
glad to welcome into your
The
Disney show
Disney
that I
Channel
actually
has
like.
kickstarted hundreds
My
of
favorite one,
careers,
of
but
course,
it hasn't been
was The
without
Way We
consequence.
Place.
The rise to child stardom is a controversial one, filled with predatory casting directors, dangerous producers, and in today's episode, even convicted criminals. So be prepared because
See,
we are
I've
going
never-
to be taking a look
I've
at one of
never
the
knew about
longest
this,
running
though.
Disney Channel shows of all time, The Sweet Life of
I've
Zack
always
and
heard a
Cody,
lot about
and chronicle
Nickelodeon.
just how one show not only launched the careers of some of the most influential
Selena.
people on the entire planet, but also hired a dangerous criminal right out of jail.
Stupid looking ears, doesn't it? No, what do you mean no? Look, the goof's got ears like an elephant. Say it.
No.
Come on, say it, the whip.
What?
What an idiot! You're twins! That means you got stupid ears too!
Is this scripted? Please somebody,
Twins
please
Dylan
somebody
and
tell
Cole
me that was
Sprouse
scripted.
were born on
It was
August
good, gang.
4th, 1992. And just 8 months later, they were thrust into the spotlight.
We started, basically, our mom put us in the business when we were really, really, really little. We were about 8 months old when we started. We did
Wait, there was 8 months. What?
a diaper commercial. And then from then to 5 years old, we did
Oh,
Grace
they said
Under
a
Fire.
diaper
However,
commercial. I was about
Dylan
to say,
and
wait,
Cole
what?
would be playing the same role.
I'm not gonna have you tell me this morning you had a secret in Bradford. Tell me a secret, even though it's just you and me. Whisper a secret.
Very loose children's work restrictions were finally beginning to take form in California, and Hollywood studios needed to adapt accordingly. One of these ways was through the hiring of twins. According to California law, child actors between the age of 2 to 6 are only allowed to work 3 hours a day, and babies under 2 can only work 2 hours per day. With a twin, you can double that time and finish filming scenes faster and more efficiently. So essentially, Hollywood production companies were hiring twins so they could drain them of more work hours. These laws only got more stringent, and by the time Dylan and Cole were off of Grace Under Fire and on to their next project, they had no trouble landing another role, as twins were in very high demand. They had done several small roles, however their big break came in the late 90s when they starred along Adam Sandler in the hit film Big Daddy.
I did most scenes. No, I did. No, I did. Mommy said I did. Did he?
How's it working with Adam Sandler? He's a pretty shy guy. Like, you wouldn't think that he's shy at first, but he really does open up. The great thing is he has a comedy for all ages.
This movie catapulted their careers to the mainstream. However, nothing could have prepared the twins for their Disney Channel debut, as in the coming years, Dylan and Cole Sprouse would become household names. Did just that. The series would follow a pair of twins named Zach and Cody around a parody of the Hilton Hotel. As they wreaked havoc on their family and friends, using existing Disney Channel stars, they built a dream cast.
This March, look who's coming to Disney Channel.
Mr. Mo.
The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, a brand new Disney Channel original series. Coming to March on Disney Channel.
Hey, I don't know if this is copyright or not. We're gonna go ahead and skip that, just in case if it's copyright again. YouTube already been tweaking with the monetization stuff.
So Disney Channel writers dreamed up London Tipton. An airhead who also happened to be the heir to the Tipton forfeiters dreamed up London Tipton.
That's what's her name? The girl of Everybody Hates Chris. She on
airhead who also happened to be the heir to the Tipton fortune. She was outwardly happy and had everything anyone could ever want, but deep down she craved connection and missed her parents more than anything.
This wouldn't have to do more with your father not showing up for the father-daughter dance, would it?
Baby. I just thought he might actually show up this time.
London needed a frenemy, and that came in the form of Maddie Fitzpatrick, a studious teen girl, London's age, who worked at the Tipton Hotel candy counter to support her family. However, casting these characters would be no simple task. Maddie needed to be quick-witted, snappy, and smart, while London needed to be pretentious, likable, but still three-dimensional. The part of London Tipton originally went to none other than Ashley Tisdale, a teen Broadway performer who previously had done voice acting work for A Bug's Life, and the part of Maddie Fitzpatrick originally went to Phil of the Future star Brenda Song. Brenda told W Magazine it was Ashley Tisdale who tested for the role of London Tipton. They were going to go full true Paris Hilton parody, and when we read for the roles, they were like, no, actually you guys switched parts. Hollywood wasn't doing that then. Every audition was like a job to me. I didn't get a lot of auditions. It wasn't until I got into the Disney family that they were so very open.
I got into this accident. I was like 4 years old in the mall in Northern California, and they were doing like a big model search in the middle of the mall. This school wasn't legit at all, but I met a real agent through it, and I sort of just
say there's so many scams out there.
Yeah, and it was, but I was lucky enough to meet a real agent. I just love being on a set, and I love what I do. We're really lucky that, you know, I mean, at least for me, I get to live out the dream that I had since I was like 7 years old, and you know, every single day, so I can't complain.
So I feel really proud of that, because for me, growing up, I didn't see a lot of girls who looked like me on TV, and it was a little disheartening because I was like, I'm not Jackie Chan, I'm not Jet Li, how am I going to do this? Brenda even got accepted into Harvard at just 16 years old when she officially landed the role. However, she went with her dreams of becoming an actress instead. Disney replaced her on Phil of the Future and thus transformed her into the iconic London Tipton. And Ashley Tisdale assumed her new role as Maddie Fitzpatrick with ease and showcased her versatility as an actress.
I'm so grateful for playing those roles. Like at that time in my life, that was like what I wanted to do. I was like, I need to be on Disney.
The twins needed a reason to live at the hotel. Different characters who worked in the hotel along with a parental figure. The soap opera icon herself, Kim Rhodes, assumed the part of Carrie Martin, a divorced mother of twins who lives and sings at the luxury hotel. Phil Lewis would be cast as Mr. Mosby, the uptight hotel
I
manager
used to
who
hate
acted as a
Mr.
father figure to
Mr.
London and was
Mosby.
always at odds with Zack and they would be cast as Mr. Mosby's bellboy Esteban Julio Ricardo Montoya de la Rosa Ramirez. Brian Stepnick became a fan favorite when he was cast as Esteban Julio Ricardo Montoya de la Rosa Ramirez. Brian Stepnick became a fan favorite when he was cast as the scatterbrained engineer Arwen, whose love for Terry Martin was only rivaled by his love for creating disastrous inventions for the hotel, and Allison Stoner, a dance prodigy who gained major recognition at just 11 years old when was starring alongside Missy Elliott in the music video for Work It, was cast as the reoccurring character Max, a rough around the edges skater who befriends the twins at school. But Allison wasn't the only star to gain a huge boost from The Sweet Life. The show would also act as the testing ground.
I don't even remember seeing her in this. That's crazy.
For an entire new generation of child stars, including but not limited to Victoria Justice, Nathan Kress, Rainey Rodriguez, Moises Arias, Nessa Hutchins.
Yo, they had half a Nickelodeon on here.
The show would also act as the testing ground for an entire new generation of child stars, including but not limited to Victoria Justice, Nathan Kress, Rainey Rodriguez,
that was iCarly too.
Moises Arias, Nessa Hutchins, Daniela Monet, Drew Seeley, and global sensation Selena Gomez. Emma Stone even played the voice of London Tipton's dog, Ivana. The musical guests were out of this world as well, including Jesse McCartney, Chris Brown, and Disney's own Cheetah Girls. This was the dream team of actors who brought The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody to life. But behind the scenes lurked a few key individuals that would cause The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody not to be so sweet. The Disney Channel was building Dylan and Cole Sprouse's show into an empire, but underneath the shiny hotel sets, millions in merchandise, and dozens of breakout teen stars was a dark secret.
The pink mirror. Ain't that the mirror that be taught that was
if you want to
talking
learn how to
in the
edit
show?
really well from
Hollywood is full of but you would think there would be many safeguards put in place by child networks such as Disney Channel to protect the many children.
I thought Disney Channel did. I assumed that Disney Channel did a good job at like protecting their people because I never heard none negative.
On set. Unfortunately, that
Apparently
has
no.
not always been the case. This can be demonstrated by when Disney Channel hired convicted offender Brian
They hired a convicted offender
to play the mirror voice on The Sweet Life of
Hey,
Zack and
yo.
Cody.
How do I look?
2 words. Gorgeous.
Hey, that's crazy.
Did your mirror just talk? Yep, it's something that Daddy's scientists came up with.
I'm confused. Wait, did they know he? First of all, no, you have to know because if you're a registered offender, that's like the first thing that pops up when somebody like searches anything about you.
Now, not only can I see how good I look, I can hear
And they
Daddy
want
too.
to do with it. No, this is crazy.
Ooh, let me try. So, how do I look? Well, anyway, what are you doing here, mirror?
I'm here to take you on a
Yo,
trip.
this is wild. After they just said that bro was an offender, and that's when like, obviously it's only a mirror, but like, realistically, an offender is in the bathroom or whatever with her. This is crazy. Step into me is crazy. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. When we was younger, we did not catch a bunch of like the stuff that, like a bunch of like the adult jokes or whatever type of jokes that either Disney or Nickelodeon will like slip in there. I was just watching the video. I'm like, yo, how did I not see this?
Sweetie. Have I ever steered you wrong before?
You did tell me I looked good wearing a scrunchie.
It was the 90s. They were in.
Whatever. I'm not stepping inside you.
Is that a pimple?
Yes! Where? Wait, I don't see a pimple.
Look closer. Closer.
Brian Peck has worked in Hollywood since the 80s. While he is still to this day a cult figure
What the hell? He look like Oscar De La Hoya. I was about to say,
within
what?
the horror community for playing Scuzz in The Return of the Living Dead.
And wow, I just discovered that an actor from one of my favorite movies, Return of the Living Dead, is a and what I want to know is how this never became common knowledge and how this guy continues to find work and makes a fortune appearing
That's what I'm trying to find out because I thought that stuff literally shows up. And like, well, anyway, back then it was much easier to get away with stuff like that. It was more corrupt.
Still acting, to this day. Apparently, he's well
Appreciate the
connected
follow.
and is friends with Charlie Sheen and other influential
How you
people.
doing,
He
gang?
has also worked on many children's shows through the years.
You see him? We draw drawings of each other.
Brian is the famous artist, and we always make fun of each other and portray each other in
Oh,
silly,
I just
satirical
seen.
ways.
Oh yeah, I seen something about this. In the last video I watched.
Leo's job on this set, for some reason, is to make fun of me all day long. Leo, as you know, is the latest, hottest, hunkiest teen idol there is.
Yeah, muscles.
Look, speaking of hunky, huh?
Brian Peck would
This
work
whole thing just looks weird.
with Nickelodeon frequently, appearing
his
in
whole
Kenan and
vibe.
Kel, Good Burger, The Amanda Show, and all that.
Brian Peck moved to Nickelodeon and coached on almost all their shows, really. It was one of those shows where he befriended a pretty major child actor.
Oh.
That child was by Brian Peck. He came forward and filed criminal charges against Brian Peck.
On August 19th, 2003,
What?
Brian Peck was arrested for a Nickelodeon child star. LAPD had put out a statement stating that detectives believed there were additional victims who had not come forward. And considering Peck had been working in the industry for 20 years at this point, there is no way to know how many survivors of Brian Peck there truly are, as many victims in Hollywood are forced to stay silent to protect their careers.
Brian Peck almost immediately pled
Yeah,
guilty.
another thing I heard.
Clearly
parents-
he didn't want an investigation to
The
continue.
the parents be in on this type of stuff. Not like in on it, but they be like knowing about it and be like literally just getting paid off to like not say anything. That's crazy.
Or clearly the studio didn't want an investigation to continue. The victim has chosen to remain anonymous all along in order to continue to work. It's unheard of that a child would be able to step forward at the time of when they're still a minor and continue to work afterward. I can't think of a single example where that's happened. So a kid that wants to speak out and say what happened to them beyond their family would truly have to give up their career. It's very sad that that's the case, but it's a reality.
Brian Peck was convicted in
Oh, they used to
2004,
manipulate
where
the
he
mess out
would
these kids.
only spend 16 months in prison. His conviction of a Nickelodeon child star would
Appreciate the
not
follow,
prevent
gang.
him from continuing his work in Hollywood.
Everyone who hates ads will be
Damn, we
using
got
this
an
Chrome
ad.
extension by 2025.
Let's go
I
ahead and
feel
skip
like I just
this.
found a Google
Come on
cheat
now.
code. It's a Chrome-
As just months after his release, Disney Channel would hire him to play
They
the
hi-
mirror voice on the Sweet
Wait. So they knew he got arrested for acting inappropriate with little kids from a whole another big network and want to go
Life
hire.
of
What?
Zack and Cody. Either Disney Channel was unaware of Brian Peck's conviction, which
How are you? This is what I'm confused about. Especially for big jobs like this, don't they do background checks? How would this possibly like go unseen?
would mean they aren't taking the most basic precautions to
That's what I'm saying. Like
protect
they
their
just
child
hiring
stars,
anybody.
such as background checks. Or Disney Channel did know they were hiring a convicted offender to work on one of their child shows and simply
Yeah, knowingly. If they knew that they was hiring an offender on a primarily kids channel, it's crazy.
didn't care about the risk. However, Brian Peck was not the first convicted Disney has hired. Filmmaker
Who else?
Victor Salva was convicted
Vic-
after pleading guilty
Hold on.
to 5 felony
He looked
counts
familiar.
in 1988. Salva
What?
was sentenced to just
Oh, in
3
19.
years.
Yeah, no. I definitely. They said 1988, but what was the thing she said?
Filmmaker Victor Salva was convicted after pleading guilty to 5 felony counts in 1988. Salva was sentenced to just 3 years, but only ended up serving half of his sentence. Fast forward to 19.
I ain't gonna lie. The stuff like this. How do they be getting such short time? Like it'd be like people who like steal and get like triple the sentences of people who do stuff like this. I don't understand it.
95, a movie called Powder was released by Disney and produced by Caravan Pictures.
I ain't gonna lie. People that do that type of stuff, because I don't know if I can say it on Twitch or YouTube or anything, but people that do that stuff like with little kids, if y'all understand what I'm saying, I ain't gonna lie. They shouldn't have sent them to jail. They should put them in like the ring with like the like most dangerous professional boxer and just let that boxer just go to work for all 12 rounds.
This movie was written
See if they
and
think about doing
directed
something
by
like that
none
again.
other than Victor Salva. Salva is even quoted
Because most of those people
saying,
ain't gonna learn
Powder
it unless we
contains
doing stuff
many
like
of his
that.
thoughts from his time in prison
And
within
when you
the
put your
movie's
hands on them,
subtext.
they gonna learn.
The release of Powder prompted Nathan Winters, the victim, to come forward publicly and protest Disney hiring the convicted who him.
That's when Powder came
Oh.
out. And I was like at work one day, and I got a call from my auntie,
gosh.
and she said, and Victor wrote it and directed it, and it's got Mary Steenburgen and, you know, Jeff Goldblum and da-da-da-da. And so I'm 20 years old, and I'm at work, and I'm just got hit in the gut, you know. I'm just like, whoa. You know, and then she tells me that it was produced by Disney. So I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking it took about a half an hour, and I just made a decision. I'm like, well, I can't allow this. And literally, as I'm like accepting this and making that decision, I get a call from somebody from the Associated Press, and it just was a powder keg. It just blew up. I mean, laying it all out there for the world to see and to know what Victor really is.
The protest caused a media stir where Disney and Caravan Pictures had no choice but to respond. And both shockingly defended their choice to hire Victor Salva.
They defended
The
it?
Caravan Pictures spokesperson was quoted.
He paid for his crime. He paid his debt to society. What happened 8 years ago has nothing to do with this movie. Wow.
Saying
Damn,
he
so
paid
they
for
don't
his
even
crimes.
care.
He paid his debt to society. And the Disney
That's
spokesperson
crazy.
said, quote, what happened 8 years ago has nothing to do with this movie.
The opposition was, I would say at that
They
time,
ain't
it was about
that's
60-40. 60% of the people were like supportive of me, but you know, there's the 40% that would call me all sorts of names and tell me that I was doing it for all the wrong reasons and try to discredit me. And then you got people like Eisner down at Disney going on record
Former
and saying
CEO of
it
Disney.
was a one-time inappropriate between a grown man and a consenting minor.
This just shows that
Consent. That's not even. Those two words don't even go in. Those two words don't even go in the same sentence. A consenting minor. How is a minor gonna give consent to anything?
are not stopped from working in Hollywood even after convictions.
What?
And they certainly
Yo,
aren't
these
prevented
people-
from working on family-friendly films.
Cause I was like, how is all this stuff going on? Like, bro, the higher ups in the companies clearly don't care either.
And TV shows, paving the way for more and more to join this industry. There would be one more.
That's what I be saying, and that's what like when I see, when I used to see like people acting crazy, like childhood actors always like either they be on drugs or act crazy or any type of stuff like that. It's like I'm like, what they got going on? When I was younger, I was like, what they got going on? Now I understand stuff like this
That we know of
They'd have
tied
been
to Disney Channel and the
traumatized,
Sweet
then
Life
went
of
through
Zach
who
and
knows what.
Cody. Joshua Workman was the manager for Cole and Dylan Sprouse during their time on The Sweet Life. He even helped co-produce the Sprouse twins movie, The Prince and the Pauper, which did air on Disney Channel. According to TMZ in 2008, Joshua Workman pled no contest to one count of misdemeanor and one count
What?
sales of alcoholic beverages to a minor.
So Disney was just flooded with people like this. No, it's,
Joshua's attorney gave a statement stating that Joshua admitted he annoyed an individual who is a minor and provided them alcohol. According to the Superior Court of California, Ventura County, Joshua Workman's case today shows dismissed or expunged, and Joshua Workman has since changed his name and moved to Canada.
how does this stuff go? Like, how does this
Years
stuff
later in
go
2012,
dismissed?
a
That
new
doesn't make any sense. How do
California
you
state
dismiss something
law
like
would
that?
be introduced and passed to help protect child stars from offenders. Brian
I'm confused why these type of precautions and things like that were not in place like 50 years before any of this took
Peck
place.
was one of the many offenders who sparked the creation of this law. The law
There should have been a law.
1660 requires those who work with child actors that may have unsupervised access to them, such as publicists, managers, acting coaches, and photographers, to be fingerprinted and pass an FBI background check before they would be issued a child performer services permit. While the law was a great start, it had many loopholes. If you were a fellow actor such as Brian Peck or a part of the show's crew, you wouldn't necessarily be required to undergo these FBI background checks. 6 years after the law was put into place, Deadline conducted an investigation to see if there has been any follow-through, and they found only 292 valid permit holders within the State Department's Industrial Relations database. Many industry professionals have not complied with the new law and have failed to register. Amongst those who have failed to comply would be publicists who represent child stars on many hit TV shows such as Disney Channel's Stuck in the Middle and Raven's Home. And while this is the darkest part of the industry that has impacted more child stars than we could ever know, there are also so many other negative impacts to child actors within this industry.
So we shot a pilot. The pilot was going to either be picked up or not picked up into a TV series order for 3 seasons, because that's how Disney did it. You'll see that in a lot of different shows that they've had.
No, they ain't do it. They ain't do that for my favorite series of Vampire. Cut that thing off right at 2 seasons and left us wondering what happened.
In the 90s and early 2000s, Disney Channel seemingly implemented what the gamer has called the 65-episode rule. Just as its name implies, the 65-episode rule was a pretty rigid programming scheme that rarely let Disney Channel original shows from exceeding 65 episodes total. Many great shows fell victim to this, including Even Stevens and Lizzie McGuire, which were both cut off at exactly 65 episodes.
Like
both of these shows were then given a Disney Channel original movie, but were eventually phased out of the primetime Disney Channel program. But why would Disney Channel end extremely successful shows with an arbitrary number of episodes? Many have speculated over the years why this rule was put in place, some theorizing that the stars of the shows, along with their viewers, aged out of the desired Disney Channel demographic. But the website Fandom suggests the rule may have had more to do with programming schedules rather than any personal feelings about a series on the part of studio executives. Before streaming services, DVR, and on-demand, television networks' programming was much more rigid, as the networks were choosing which reruns to play. With 65 episodes, 5 episodes can be broadcast a week, reaching the 65th episode at the end of the quarter. This caused filming and promotional schedules for the child stars on Disney to often be
I've never watched the Jonas Brothers show. I've never watched it.
And exhausting.
While some companies stay within
I'm thinking about going
the
back to watch
range
it
of working hours for minors,
on my computer or something.
many do not. Regardless, set conditions are inappropriate and hazardous. Did you know that according to the U.S. Department of Labor, 17 states still don't have any regulations in place for child entertainment in 2021?
Okay, I don't see PA
all
on there.
50 have working child performers. Adding to this, Zero Productions acknowledged that after their shoot, I will go to another, record an interview during my lunch break, train for multiple hours, skip dinner, and meet for a late night rehearsal. After all, their responsibility is to deliver a product on time and in budget, not to babysit. Meanwhile, agents are encouraging me to look at early emancipation so I can work longer hours.
By the time Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was in production, Disney was already moving on to an even more strenuous programming schedule, as the 65-episode rule was officially broken for good in 2004 by That's So Raven, and successful shows were now running even longer than before.
Are you guys working right now?
Look at all these
shows were
shows.
now running even longer than before.
Was it replaced the best of them all though?
Working right now, or do you get a little holiday break?
We're off until January, I think, and then we're back.
What are the plans? What are you going to be doing?
I mean, we want as much downtime as we can get because, you know, we are really busy when the show's going, so we don't really, we're just trying to relax, I guess.
Yeah, mainly. That's our #1 priority.
I like it. Now, any favorite?
By its second season, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody had reached its 65-episode lifespan. Yet, like That's So Raven a few years prior, executives still renewed the show for one last season. However, with the success of Cory in the House after That's So Raven ended, whispers of different Zack and Cody sequels began to spread. The Sweet Life story was just getting started as Disney had 2 concepts that would make it to filming. One titled The Sweet Life on Deck, and another lesser-known sequel titled Arwen Housebroken, Housebroken. The Sweet Life on Deck would be centered around the twins setting sail on the SS Tipton, seeing the world, and attending boarding school with London and a slew of new characters. The lesser-known sequel, Housebroken, would focus on fan-favorite character Arwen. Instead of having Dylan and Cole Sprouse, the series would have had Brian Stepanek reprise his role as Arwen Hockhauser, who was going to live with his sister to help her take care of her kids. An entirely new cast of characters would have also starred in the show, with the most notable being Selena Gomez.
You have no business going to a high school party.
I'm in high school. What other parties am I gonna go to?
She has a point. You stay out of this. I'm her mother, and I'll decide what's appropriate for her.
She has a point, too.
I was about to say, I don't know how it would do, like, performance-wise, if they had, like, a completely new, like, revamped thing. But if they got other, like, big Disney stars at the time,
While pilots of The Sweet Life on Deck and Housebroken were being conceptualized, the third season of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was in production, and it would prove to be majorly problematic. For starters, Ashley Tisdale could only be in a select number of episodes due to her extremely packed filming schedule playing Sharpay in High School Musical. But in November of 2007, this would prove to be the least of the concerns.
As many of you know, 3 weeks ago, the members of the Writers Guilds of America voted overwhelmingly to authorize a strike if we could not reach a fair and reasonable deal with the Alliance motion picture and television producers. Studios made it clear that they would rather shut down this town than reach a fair and reasonable deal.
12,000 writers are on strike, saying producers don't want to pay them enough when their material gets reused on the internet.
Their shows are streamed live online, and they're not getting paid for it.
At the end of the day, how much money do you think this will have cost everybody?
$1 billion at least.
The Writers Guild strike of 2007 halted production on multiple Disney Channel shows. And according to the senior VP of original programming for the Disney Channel, the strike put a halt to The Sweet Life. And unfortunately, it proved to effectively kill off any chance of Disney producing 2 sequels for The Sweet Life. The pilot episode of Housebroken was filmed. However, only The Sweet Life on Deck would make it to air. Housebroken was eventually scrapped in favor of the hit Disney Channel series starring Selena Gomez, Wizards of Waverly Place, which went on to be one of Disney Channel's biggest successes. However, Housebroken will always exist as the Sweet Life spin-off with Selena Gomez that almost was. Well, at least until 2011, but we'll get to that later in the video. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was a cultural phenomenon, and each of the core cast members were quickly becoming Disney royalty. Brenda and Ashley both got their own Disney Channel original movies, and the ratings for the show during the final season just kept growing. Thus, as networks often do, when a popular show comes to an end, it's still time to continue the story.
We're really happy that Disney took us back again. We're honored. Basically what happens is Zack and Cody now do school abroad. Their mom finally got enough money with their employee discount to put us on a ship, the SS Tipton. So now we're doing school there, and basically we have to learn responsibility.
Our young teenage boys in London are off on a grand adventure.
Well, what this quality
will be
is?
going to school on a luxury
That's in
cruise liner.
1080p.
You know, we had a
That's
lot of
not
fun
me.
doing Sweet Life, and it's just going to be a lot more fun doing the show.
Coming off the mega success of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, The Sweet Life on Deck was pretty much the same with a few minor changes. Instead of a hotel, they would be traveling the world on the SS Tipton. And with the removal of Ashley Tisdale and Kim Rhodes from the main cast...
Why did I just realize? I literally, they replaced her with Debbie Ryan. I just now realized it.
4 new main characters were added. Doc Shaw played Marcus Little, a retired child rapper who shares a room with Zach and attends 7 Seas High. Matthew Timmons was cast as Woody, Cody's roommate, and Aaron Cardillo played their teacher, Miss Tutwiler. But the biggest addition to the Sweet Life sequel was the introduction of Debbie Ryan, a child star who, much like Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato, got her start on Barney. The Disney Channel saw major potential in Debbie, not only as one of the frontrunners of their brand new show, but as an asset to their brand to recruit more children for the network.
A full-fledged system has emerged. It's expertly constructed and it's bolted in place by censoring the harm. It's expertly constructed and it's bolted in place by censoring the harm happening behind the scenes, manicuring aspirational lifestyles and outcomes.
Just 4 weeks ago, I was an everyday teenager living in Texas, but I got the chance to live out my dream by being cast on Disney Channel's next big show, The Sweet Life on Deck.
When we decided to move forward and do Sweet Life on Deck, we needed another character, and we were incredibly lucky to find the perfect person that we envisioned as Bailey, and her name is Debbie Ryan, and she's just joined our Sweet Life family.
This quality is
So I
making
found
my
out that I
eyes hurt.
booked The Sweet Life on Deck, and that I'm going to be, London's new roommate, which
I understood from, the audition and the screen test that that was a huge role. And I was like, Mom, do you know how big this show is? Do you know how big this is going to be? And she's like, yeah. And we're still surprised.
So was it hard? Because you and your mom have had to move to LA and your brother and your dad stayed behind.
It's really hard. I text my brother all the time.
The show debuted to 5.7 million viewers in 2008 and proved to be another huge Disney Channel success. Episodes like Double Cross that featured Miley Cyrus and Selena Gomez would go on to break major records. The show ran from 2008 to 2011, with a Sweet Life movie being produced as well. And overall, the show was embraced by Disney Channel viewers just as much, if not more, than the original. Dylan and Cole were certified Disney royalty, and as the Sweet Life on Deck was renewed for one final season, they were in talks with Disney again about developing the next Sweet Life sequel. Only this time, they wanted to be executive producers.
That's how you know that was
Cole and Dylan Sprouse were now around
That's how you know
19
it's
years old
successful.
and had spent a majority of their career and large part of their childhood working for the Disney Channel machine. They were ready to leave Disney Channel and start their adult lives by taking a break from acting and pursuing higher education.
Why did I switch from acting, which my brother and I were arguably successful in, to archaeology? I think the simplest answer, and I will go into greater detail, but the simplest answer is because I can. And I don't mean that to sound pretentious. We don't realize how often we have the ability to change what is constant in our lives. And whether these things are
just
a good
wanted to try
constant
something
or a
new.
bad
I understand.
constant, once we begin to get comfortable with concepts...
I mean, you gotta think of it. They've been acting and doing all that since they were kids. So at a point, you're going to get tired, and if you just keep on going, you're going to start going crazy. So it was good that they just stepped away for a little while.
We start to overuse it and
did something else
and
that they
that's what
liked.
I had done with acting. I think the final thing that really contributed to my change, the biggest, was that my brother and I were put into acting when we were 8 months old.
Yeah,
by our
that's
mother.
what they do in
Because we
acting
needed
their
money.
entire life.
And I never made the decision to join the arts, or acting specifically.
Before leaving Disney Channel, they deferred college by 1 year to do one final season in their Sweet Life franchise, a spin-off they wrote themselves and wanted to help produce.
My brother and I, first off, we needed to stop the show. We knew it was time.
You chose to stop it.
Yes, my brother and I actually quit off of Disney Channel. We quit one because it had been 6 years, and we thought that the glory days of the show were definitely when we were in the younger series. And so we stopped it then, but also for another reason, my brother and I wanted to become producers for the show. So we were trying to get the writing credits for one more season before we went to college. See, because Cole and I actually deferred a year before we came here. And what we wanted to do during that year was film one last season where, and we wrote this all ourselves. We had everything out, laid out on the table. And we went up to
ready
them and
to
said,
cook up
let's do
some
one,
nice.
if we're going to do one last season, it's going to be on our terms. We're going to produce it, and it'll be a setup for a new show. So what it would be is that Zach and Cody would leave the boat,
Hey,
and
I
they would go
respect
back
it
to
though.
live in Boston.
They knew what they wanted to do. They had a
hotel in the
plan. They were
downtime,
trying to execute it.
Between when they would go to college, if they did.
Disney,
and
unfortunately, didn't see the vision,
you know,
but
after
it
leaving the
still
boat.
could, because
So there'd be a year of time
what's the
there.
name of that show that they was
And
on?
Cody would apply to college,
Well,
and
Vanessa
Zach would
Morgan
apply
and
to
all
college
them?
too.
What's the name of that?
And we'd live with our mom
Who's
again in the hotel. And during our stay at the hotel, you know, things would have been changed, and it would kind of show this progression of time, you know. What's happened in the meantime?
Oh, Riverdale. Yeah,
what,
yeah.
You know, how long have we actually been away? What has
Riverdale
changed at the
was very
hotel?
successful,
and, you know,
too.
believe in the show. Mr. Tipton went bankrupt, and so how that would affect the show. And during then, there would be this little boy who lived with his single dad, and Cole and I, while we were preparing for college, would kind of raise this boy up as a little brother. So what we do is we'd show him all the crazy stuff in the hotel.
I know he's been talking for a long time, but I ain't gonna lie. Based on what he's saying, though, that sounds like a good script and everything. Like, I don't know why Disney didn't.
We would,
I mean, I guess Disney wanted to control them. So, I mean, you know how it is. But by hearing what I heard from this and all the other videos I watched, a bunch of these networks try to do their most to control these people, so these actors specifically. So
lead them in all these wacky situations.
I can see that. That's probably why they didn't want them to be like writers
but
of the
with
show.
this one kid. And what it would do is that after that, Cody would go to college. Zach, who would not get into college, would go to work in business, and a used car dealership, I believe, was what we were thinking, to show that kids can be successful.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie. A bunch of stuff like this, or like where you hear like shows that maybe got canceled or anything, like scripts that they had planned out before the stuff got canceled, it's like, bro, it just make you wish that they could have just like went through with it, and so you could have like experienced it.
No matter what they choose,
Who
they could either
knows
be successful going to college and getting an education, or they
I
could
heard
be
a lot of
successful
stuff
starting a
like
physical
even with,
life.
the same thing with My Babysitter's a Vampire and all that, because I think they wanted to renew their stuff, their TV contract or something, but I think Canada, it was something weird.
Really starting right off the bat.
Because it took place in Canada, but it took like I think a couple years for them to broadcast it in America and all other places and all that. So
and then the show could go in any direction with this kid that they wanted.
The spin-off Cole and Dylan came up with was truly perfect. They would act for one more year to help launch the new show and would receive writer and production credits, which would look amazing on their resume. Disney Channel would have a third installment of the highly successful Sweet Life franchise. Plus, Cole and Dylan could set up the Sweet Life crew, who at this point were more like
bigger and better things, and Disney was just trying to hold them back.
Pay. It was
out
a
of pocket money.
Win-win. So what Cole and I wanted, the reason we wanted to do that too was because it would also set up all the cast and crew we've worked with for 60 years. So they would not lose their jobs in our decision to go to college in real life. And so they would continue to work, and we would also be making money off the producership.
However, when Cole and Dylan would pitch their idea to Disney executives,
really,
Disney's response would forever tarnish their relationship with the twins.
Previously, when we had pitched our idea, it was kind of this situation where they had almost laughed in our faces and like pushed us out the door, and we were like, it was really disrespectful. They told us no to that idea, so that was kind of a big part of the decision, because they didn't trust us enough after all this time.
But that wouldn't be the end of Disney Channel
I'm
showing
not surprised.
how little
Disney wants to control as much. They want to control you as much as they can, from like just things that I've seen from like a observation standpoint. They want to control as much as they can. They're control freaks. So if anybody has any type of say or one up on them, you feel me, they're gonna
they respected the
feel
twins
like
after
they're not powered
6
enough.
years of working together. Disney Channel would call Cole and Dylan back to pitch them a Sweet Life spin-off idea, but the idea Disney Channel came up with sounded oddly familiar.
Then like a week or two later, they came back to us and they're like, all right, well, we said no to your idea, let us pitch you our idea that we came up with and for the next season. So we sat down and we were like, all right, we'll hear you out. We're not really, Cole and I, ahead of time, we were like, we don't want to do that. And so they sat us down, they're like, all right, here's our idea. You guys leave the boat. Zach goes to work in Miami with Cole. They both go, like Zach and Cody go to Miami, right? They go to this hotel, okay? And Selena Gomez is there. This is the best part. And Selena Gomez is there, and there's this kid who has a single dad, right? And you guys raise him up like he's this prodigy of yours, and you can set up the show. You guys don't get producer credits. But then Zach would go to work in a used car dealership, and Cody would go to college. But all of this happens in the rapid-paced city of Miami. And they pitched us our idea
I was about to say it doesn't sound like a bad idea, but one, they're taking away the credit from the producer credit that they asked for, and two, it sounds exactly like what they just pitched to them. Yo, Disney really be trying finesse. Yo, these networks really be trying finesse. That's crazy.
Miami with Selena.
You literally just took their plan, added another actor or actress from the same network.
Gomez
and changed the location.
Cole and I turned to each other and we basically laughed in their face and walked out. And that was the last meeting we had with Disney.
This interview with Dylan Sprouse, which aired on YouTube in May of 2013,
I knew they had like a weird or bad relationship with Disney. I just never knew why.
Was deleted within 2 days of its release. We will never know if it was Disney Channel that wanted the true reason as to why the Sprouse twins
Disney was
left
the people
Disney
who
removed,
got that,
or if
video
maybe
took down.
Dylan Sprouse didn't want that portion of the interview to go live. Either
Nah,
way, Cole and Dylan
Disney
managed
made
to
you call.
break away from the Disney Channel machine very cleanly. Many Disney Channel
Yup.
stars have a very difficult time trying to break the Disney Channel mold, even years after leaving.
I'm sure you guys have all heard about this open essay that Joe Jonas wrote for New York Magazine. And in it, he talked about how he and his brothers were controlled, every aspect of their lives, by Disney.
Joe Jonas spoke of this in 2013 when he said being a part of a company like Disney Channel comes with certain expectations.
Wait, what?
That the
Being a part of a company, but there was a subtle vibe. We were working with Disney in 2007 when the Vanessa Hudgens new photo scan. What?
pressure to please Disney Channel executives, their parents, and fans is the kind of pressure no teen should ever be under.
So working for them in general is interesting. They contract you as a child. Basically, you can't do anything that will make you uninsurable. So you can't go surfing. You can't like rollerblade. You can't do like high impact sports. You can't do team sports. You can't do certain things unless the executives, I think, like have to really kind of evaluate it case by case. And I'm not saying that they're going to say no every time, but it's a consideration. It's a consideration in that when you're working for them and you're believing that if you say yes and you behave, that you will be rewarded with extra screen time, extra opportunities. Like you want them to.
So they just control you, basically.
And this doesn't just go for Disney. This goes for any
And
kid who's
brainwash.
in the business, working for a big company. My mom, who was like, let's say yes to everything. Let's make them happy. Let's work
What?
well
See,
with
yeah,
them.
that's the problem. That was the problem with like, what's the name of it? Parents like being in charge of, or like things like that. Because one, the parents were more than likely just in it for the money and fame and everything. So more than likely on the contracts or whatever, they didn't read into anything or didn't even care to read it. Like she just said, the mom just somehow let's just do what they say. If you let these companies do what they say, that's what they want to do. So yeah, that's crazy.
And you know what?
If
It
you just
totally
do
works.
what they want.
Like I was in a lot of things that people know now to this day. But I do, however, think that there is value in saying no. Saying no is
Yeah.
important because it tells people that you know your worth. I
Mhm.
love Disney. I go to Disneyland. I go to Disney World. I love it. I believe in the magic 120 million%. I mean, the other thing is that when me and some other people were working for the channel, there wasn't social media. So these kids have millions of followers as soon as their TV shows are airing. And they have this massive influence that's independent of their contracts and what they're being paid for with Disney. So that means that they're independently wealthy at this point. Now that is leverage over the people that they work for. It's kind of scary for Disney because then these kids, they can make or break the fate of, I guess, the show. You know, that is something that my generation of Disney stars definitely did not have. So, unfortunately, if I had potentially seen myself as independent of anything that Disney Channel had brought me, I do believe I would have had the mindset of future growth rather than growing within the network exclusively.
Dylan Sprouse had a very different opinion than Joe Jonas when it came to being able to say no to Disney Channel.
So Dylan took to his Tumblr page, and on it he fired back, and he said, first, quote, I think it's bullshit that they were being robbed of choice or creativity. If they wanted to, they could have told Disney no. Cole, his twin brother, and I did this hundreds of times, and we ended up all right.
Something surprising that about me,
They stood on business.
Disney wanted me to apologize for telling, I think maybe Popstar, that I have a helicopter through which I fly down into Antarctica to pick up polar bears and hang out with them. They wanted me to apologize. So I'm not going, but I think it's very fun.
And then he continues, nowadays artists just assume they have to do what they are told by their proprietors because there is a rigid structure to achievement. It is nothing more than a scheme to rob you of your individuality and
Facts.
capitalize the gain they acquire from such treachery.
And it's
If you
crazy.
believe-
Things like this, people will call him crazy at the time. They'll call him crazy, call him a brain risk, call him all types of stuff. Then you look 10 years later or however many years later to the future, and he was right
this,
about
not
everything.
only are you incredibly foolish, but you are a bad artist.
I feel really thankful for what I got. I mean, I don't come from a lot, so, you know, Disney gave me the opportunity to go to college, which was great. My brother and I are some of the first in our family to ever do that. And it gave me a life that, yeah, for a little bit it bites you. Some people complain about it. Some people complain about Disney or Nick or being a child star. But it is ultimately a privilege. It's a privilege, it's luck, it's success, it's right place, it's right time, it's business connection, and the fact that I was able to be successful at 23 years old is something I don't take lightly in the slightest.
And then he finally concludes, you do not have to become something else to be successful. Not only is it not too late for the Jonas Brothers to redefine themselves, but it was never too late.
I took a break from acting for a little bit. I really had a sort of reinvention, like a renewal. I thought education was really important. But I was a child actor. I mean, I've been working since I was 8 months old. So I think taking a break is fundamental for child stars in general. It allows them to step outside themselves. It allows them to see themselves more objectively.
Whether it's streaming,
but most importantly,
whatever
it allows
is.
them to get real life experiences.
If you don't want to
real
overwork
life
yourself
stories,
and drain yourself, then that's when stop
that's
loving
what you pull off of for
the thing that you
emotional
do.
depth, for emotional range, for all of that. So
Because
if you have no stories to tell,
if you're doing
and
something,
you've led
if you're doing something too much and it starts to actually feel like either a job or feel like a burden on you, get away, take a break, and reevaluate yourself. Because if you just keep on trying to go and push through, then you're just going to stop loving what you're doing. And that's when you feel me? It just gets bad from down there.
And you can't go anywhere.
And this may very well be the reason Cole and Dylan were able to easily leave and start their adult life without always being reduced to just those twins who leave and start their adult life without always being reduced to just those twins who played Zach and Cody on.
Let's see what the comments say. It's crazy how censored the video is. I understand what. Well, yeah, I was about to say they got applied by YouTube rules. Bart Jones says, "I be saying that. I literally said that throughout the video. Why are the jail sentences so short? I think it's the same how Disney is okay with hiring, but punishes. Yeah, man. The fact that Brenda got to her, 16. That was crazy. Most kids don't have content. Yeah, listen. That's why I like what the twins did. They was intelligent enough to, you feel me? They said, we doing this. We not gonna let y'all like take complete control of us and everything. They basically stood on business, man. They stood by their morals and didn't let anybody take control of them. It was good that they was, educated enough to see what was going on, because a lot of people unfortunately were not and were easily to manipulate. So yeah. But hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. If y'all want to see more videos like this, maybe about, I don't know, old child stars or whatever it is, just let me know. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.